you.
It's only been a year since Assassin's Creed 2, so you'd be forgiven if you thought that Assassin's Creed Brotherhood would feel more like a stopgap than a full-bodied follow-up. Yes, this new game continues where Assassin's Creed 2 left off with the same lead character. No, it isn't as special as the game that preceded it, but it comes pretty darn close. Brotherhood is a huge game brimming with loads of stuff to do. It's beautiful to look at, brings new mechanics to the table, and harbors more than a few surprises. Many of the additions are contrived and ultimately don't mean as much as they could have, but a slow start gives way to some of the most memorable moments in the series yet.
The wisdom of our creed is revealed through these words. We work in the dark to serve the light. We are assassins.
If you played Assassin's Creed 2, then you know Ezio Auditore, the young ladies' man turned deadly assassin. Brotherhood starts exactly where the previous game left off. Ezio's nemesis Cesare Borgia has made off with the powerful Apple of Eden. Apart from a little intrigue, the story never soars above its simple premise, which is disappointing. Lucretia Borgia is the only notable new character, though she certainly is a memorable one. She's a sharp-tongued and willful woman, and her relationship with her brother Cesare is, well, let's just say that it's complicated. The highlights of Ezio's tale are in the small touches and side missions. A series of flashbacks are surprisingly emotional and are a good reminder of Ezio's younger days.
Why are you just standing there?
We also get to see his sister Claudia take on an important role, and overall, it's good to see some female characters with presence. Nevertheless, the main plot falls flat since it doesn't reveal much we didn't already know.
Vittoria agli assassini!
On the other hand, there's the parallel story of Desmond, the bartender whose ancestral memories you're visiting. I don't want to give anything away, but be prepared to spend some quality time with the man. And if you thought Assassin's Creed 2's ending was a shocker, just wait until you see this one.
I seem to have discovered a remarkable coincidence.
With a few exceptions, you spend most of your time as Ezio in Rome. You might miss having multiple cities to explore, but don't worry that Rome will feel confining. This place is huge, it's gorgeous, and there's a ton of stuff for you to do. A standard playthrough should easily take you just as much time as Assassin's Creed 2 did. The basics remain the same. You run above the city on the rooftops, you get into some swordplay with guards, you climb towers so you can get a bearing on your surroundings and then leap off of them. You blend with citizens and tail your targets, and all of these things are as fun as ever, and almost everything has received some kind of enhancement. On the combat side, you can kick your foes so you can catch them off guard before you sink your sword into them. It's a good thing, too, since enemies don't always wait around to attack you now. It isn't that much more challenging, though, since you can now string together one-slash kills, which looks really cool and sheds plenty of blood. Some of those towers you climb must be set on fire. To do that, you need to assassinate an officer in advance. Traveling is made easier now that you can whistle for a horse and you can ride one almost anywhere. The economy means even more now too, since you must purchase buildings like tailors and blacksmith shops before you gain access to vendors. You even buy famous landmarks. There are a lot of other small improvements and changes, but you get the point. A lot of tweaks have been made, many for the better. The big addition is how you can now recruit new assassins. Remember the citizens being harassed in the first Assassin's Creed? They're back, but now when you save one, they'll join your cause.
The liberation of Roma has begun.
You have saved me. My life is yours to command.
From there, you send them off on missions in a menu-based interface. They level up, and eventually they become full-fledged assassins. You can call on them in battle and they'll jump out of nearby haystacks or ride in on a horse and do some of your dirty work for you. In the end, though, this edition feels more than a bit contrived. The game leads you to believe that recruiting these assassins has some kind of overall purpose, but the whole thing feels sort of pointless. The combat is still easy enough that you might even forget you can call on your brothers. And once you reach the end of the game, you discover that all that time you spent training and recruiting doesn't really culminate in anything important. Luckily, there are plenty of other terrific features that help pick up the slack. Leonardo da Vinci is back, and some quests related to his role are beyond what you may have expected. Tombs have been replaced by lairs belonging to the followers of Romulus, and they provide some rewarding platforming sequences. Not all the missions are awesome. Ones that require careful stealth can sometimes fall flat. But overall, there's a ton of variety and enough gameplay surprises to keep you guessing, so the weak moments are just blips on the radar.
Your objective is to assassinate assigned targets. Avoid other Templars.
You may have never thought of multiplayer as something Assassin's Creed was missing. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood does have a multiplayer component, and it's quite interesting. You're assigned a target to assassinate, while simultaneously, someone must attempt to assassinate you. The trick is that you're surrounded by AI-controlled characters going about their business. You need to blend with crowds, preferably among people that look just like you, so you can trip up your pursuer. At the same time, you need to follow your radar to get to the general vicinity and keep your eyes open for suspicious activity.
You have taken the lead.
It's not action-packed, but it can get really tense. You might jump onto your target and kill him only to have your own pursuer plunge a dagger in your throat. Or you might give chase across rooftops only to lose the assassination contract because your target escapes. More stylish kills means more points, so just because you have the best kill ratio doesn't mean you're going to win. As you play, you level up and earn enhancements and skills like being able to temporarily disguise yourself or using eagle vision to find your victims. It's an acquired taste, but Brotherhood seems bound to accumulate a dedicated following of players that want something a little different. As you might imagine, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood is gorgeous to look at. It oozes details everywhere, from the interior of palaces to the famous Colosseum. We did run into several occasions in which we fell through the geometry and were swimming in water many stories below the city. These and a few other hitches make Brotherhood feel a tiny bit sloppier than the first two games, but overall, it's still a visual stunner. So, it's not the grand slam Assassin's Creed 2 was, but Brotherhood is hardly a cash-in. If anything, it's shocking just how big this game really is, and how it manages to set itself apart with interesting new mechanics and lots of great missions. Throw in a cool multiplayer component and you have a game that does anything but rest on its laurels. Not every new thing it does is a step in the right direction, but Assassin's Creed Brotherhood doesn't coast. Instead, it's yet another great reason to take that leap of faith.